This video is for my feminists out there. Hello there. And so today I'm going to be talking about masculinity. Ah, yes, masculinity. No, we hate that. Oh, get rid of that. Toxic. You're so toxic. Oh, stop it. We don't want to talk about that. Stop. Fuck off. But anyway, this is going to be a video about masculinity and strength, specifically. So, I would say we live in a fatherless society. Now, what does that look like, right? One, disappearance of fathers. Fathers don't need to have responsibilities for taking care of the child. They can just pump and chump. Just go away after that. But I think the more likely model is that fathers have forgotten how to be masculine. This causes the child to not have a masculine role model and therefore not be able to become masculine themselves. And this leads to a perpetual non-masculine father who can't teach their child, and that child becomes a father who also can't teach their child. So it's a cycle over and over again. And this leads to so much confusion about masculinity and why hypermasculine role models succeed so much in this society. And you and I can certainly think of lots and lots and lots of examples. Maybe not lots, but at least one who blew up a lot, right? At least one. Because when masculinity is deprived from boys who have a biological need for masculinity, the desire for any masculine role model is hyper elevated. It's like when you're deprived of something, you search everywhere for it. If you're deprived of food, you literally search everywhere. Like if you're in poverty and you don't have enough money for food, you'll go through trash cans to look for food. Like at a certain point, you'll do that. And then if you keep on starving in a place where you literally cannot eat, like in famines, people start eating themselves and each other. People go through cannibalism because there's literally not enough food, right? When you're deprived of something, you look desperately for it elsewhere. And that's what's happening with masculinity. But on the flip side, I would say there's lots of people out there who are trying to give masculinity back to society. Is it working? Well, who knows? You never know. So if you're a male like me, I know for a fact that you have consumed some sort of male power fantasy and you like it because there's something about it that's just masculine and it's so drawing to you because it just speaks to you on a biological level. Like mangas, like Attack on Titan, Berserk, Baki, animes like Naruto, Death Note, movies like a lot of Marvel movies, at least the old ones, right? Like Iron Man, books, Harry Potter, Percy Jackson. These are all male power fantasies where the MC becomes strong, and with that strength, they're able to do things in life. They're able to defeat the villain and protect the ones they love. They can do that because they have strength, and that's the key to male power fantasies. Hence the name male power fantasies, right? I know this for a fact that you as a male like these, because if you ask any woman to watch Attack on Titan, read Berserk or Baki, it's there's a lot of blood and gore, and then she's gonna be like, the fuck is this about? Why are you showing me this? But then as men, we're like, oh, we love that because there's something intrinsic about it that just speaks to us, and that's the hint of the masculine drive. So what masculinity fundamentally is aggression, domination, violence, strength. Right? That is masculinity in its original sense. Original as in the biological, what is written into us, without any cultural chains, in a sense, without any social chains. Just raw masculinity is aggression, domination, violence, strength. course, there's more things, but like those are, I'm sure like you can get an accurate picture of this. And you can desire to look upon the past with rosy lenses, but like tribes were at war always. Tribes enslaved each other. They went to war. They raped. They pillaged. They were terrible, in a sense. It was masculine dominion everywhere. Right? It's not like this society. Like this society is like none of that, except for isolated cases. Right? It's like not like nations going to war against each other. Although, as I say that, right, it's like, okay, there's two nations that are going at it right now, but it's not as severe as in the past, where war was constant, where masculinity was in its unbridled form without any limitation. And so one thing I want to point out is that masculinity is not good or bad. And then you can like look at me and say like, how is violence, aggression, domination not bad? Well, it isn't. Masculinity is not good or bad. It's just a trait. The society you were born into was of original masculinity, where aggression and violence always happened. Would you say it's bad or good? Perhaps. But I would wager that you would say that this is how it is. Just like how this society is. How you're eager to say, this is how society is. And so, when people say toxic masculinity and like toss that around, it's essentially tossing the baby out with the bathwater. Because if you get rid of toxic masculinity, you get rid of almost the entirety of masculinity. Because masculinity is once again aggression, strength, domination, violence. That is masculinity at its core. And if you get rid of the toxic parts, you are throwing away basically everything. And rather, masculinity is a matter of perspective. And this will hopefully clarify to you what I mean by masculinity is not good or bad. So, let's say there are three people in this scenario, right? There's person A who is getting beat up by person B. Right? And then there's person C on the sidelines. Right? And then person C comes and beats up person B and defends person A. Person A would say that person C has good masculinity. They defended him. They used their strength for good. Person B, though, they're gonna be like, no, like you attacked me, even though I was attacking someone else, but like, you attacked me, and they're gonna view person C as someone who has toxic masculinity. It's a matter of perspective, and like that's a pretty bad example, but like I hope that can help you get the point. So once again, masculinity as a trait is above good or bad, above good and evil, from Nietzsche. And so rather, masculinity becomes adapted to society through the chains of culture, right? Before it was all pure domination, aggression, and violence, right, towards others. In a civilized society, these are expressed differently. They're expressed as protection. And like one note on getting rid of masculinity is that masculinity is strength, fundamentally. Without strength, without aggression, in a sense, how do you defend yourself? And the answer is you don't. Like, if you as a country don't have strength, you can't defend yourself whatsoever. You are at the will and begging of someone stronger than you. Always. Because strength prevails. And like one thing about masculinity and strength is that, in peaceful times you don't see it whatsoever. So then you can make the argument of, okay, we don't see the benefit of keeping this thing, so why have it at all? But without it, you no longer get peace. It's like this ties in with another concept, which is hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times. If you know that quote, that's like, that is an entire cycle, and it's happening right now, right? Like, when hard times create strong men and strong men create good times, that is masculinity, that is strength, that is protection. And because when that happens, people don't see masculinity don't see strength as doing anything. You know, like, if you were to look at the United States right now, it's like, are we really doing anything with our strength? With our military might? I mean, at least on the broad surface, not really. Right? But without that strength, without that military might, we would be at the whims of every single stronger country than us. That's the lack of masculinity, of strength. So a counter example is a bully and a bullied person. The bullied person is not strong, fundamentally, unless he's Spider-Man, then perhaps he is. But even still, there is a lack of strength in that person, because even when Spider-Man gains his strength, he refuses to get bullied after that. Right? Like, he gains the strength to protect himself now, and before he didn't have that strength, so he could do nothing. And so in this case, the bully is masculine compared to the bullied, because they have the strength to do whatever they want with the bullied person. Does this mean that masculinity is bad? No. I hope you can see the point of view that masculinity is a tool. You need masculinity, you need strength to stand up to a bully. The bully also needs masculinity and strength to bully someone else. And so I made a video in the past, which was basically, you're not being nice if you aren't strong. And it's very true because, and I mean, certain people disagree with this all the time, but the point of logic is the nicest people are the strongest people. Because strength implies that you have an excess of ability, in a sense. You are strong, therefore you can do things. You can protect yourself. You know? And out of your overflowing cup of, let's say, capability, can you fill other people's cups? A strong person can help a weak person because they have something to offer. You as a weak person can't do anything because you have nothing to offer. You can barely sustain yourself, so how can you possibly really help someone else? Truly the best help is when you fill other people's cups with the liquid that's overflowing from yours. That's actual help. You can only help other people if you yourself are built and strong. Otherwise, it's just arrogance. And so throughout this video, I've conflated masculinity with strength. But what is strength? I mean, there's lots of strength, right? Physical, emotional, there's lots of strength. And so there's big categories. For one, if you aren't physically strong, you are less of a man. If you aren't physically strong, you are less of a man. Does that mean that you're not a man whatsoever? Possibly, if you have no other strengths. You know? And so apparently my camera has taken offense because it just stopped recording. But anyway, as I was saying, if you aren't physically strong, you are less of a man. How do you know if you're physically strong? For one, I think everyone knows if they're weak or not. I can't give you an arbitrary number of like, you gotta lift this much weight, you gotta bench press this much weight, you gotta squat this much weight, and then you're strong. I can't give you that. But I think everyone knows if they're strong or not. Right? Like, you know that if you can't do a single pull-up, you're probably weak. Right? You're probably weak. If you know you can't bench press your body weight, you're probably weak. If you know you can't squat, like you just don't have the structural integrity to squat, you're weak. So that's the physical aspect. Emotionally, if you're not strong, emotionally, you're weak. You know, what does being emotionally strong mean? It means being in control of your emotions. Not letting your emotions run you, but being in control. You know, we all feel emotions, right? It's like, it's not about not feeling. Same thing with stoicism. Like, so many people get stoicism wrong because they think that stoicism is all about not feeling. But it's not stoicism. Stoicism is about feeling, but not letting the feelings control you. And that's the same thing with being emotionally strong. Feeling the emotions and still making decisions and not being influenced by them. That's what being emotionally strong is. And certainly there's so many other kinds of strength out there, right? So many others. And it'd take me way too long to explain them all. But those are just two aspects of strength that are really important for a man to have. Probably two of the most important things. So if you aren't strong as a man, you're a masculine. And therefore, you're lesser of a man, and honestly, you're probably not a man. You're probably just a boy. Just an old boy. You're what an old person is as compared to wise. Right? You've only aged in a number of years. You haven't actually learned anything. Same thing with strength. You've only aged with years. You haven't actually gained any strength.